We're in Abu Dhabi for the third edition of the Crucible. Now, the Crucible is a 2-day event and it's focused on single modality workouts.
We're talking strength, we're talking endurance, we're talking strict movements. We're finding the ultimate athlete and we're testing 8 different workouts over 2 days to find out who's the best.
The Crucible is in its 3rd year, and every passing 365 days, more international athletes take part. The prize purse, it gets bigger. The production, it gets better. And the man behind this growth, Director of Sports, Cyrus Ruston.
Make sure my arm looks big, yeah? So the Crucible was built to strip fitness back to its core. No complex movements, just pure athletic output. Anyone can do them, and it's not biased for any type of athlete. You need to be a good all-rounder.
What really sets the Crucible apart is the complete lack of skill. This is absolute strength and absolute endurance.
First year was 2024. At the time, we had locked in a location to do the event, and there was a massive storm in Dubai, and the venue got water flooded. 1 month before, I had to find a secondary location. And because all of the events were trying to find somewhere, it was very difficult, and we ended up in the back of a school, and it was our test. We had the deadlift, dips, and run.
3, 2, 1, time!
But it worked, and the athletes kept telling us how much they loved the format. Because of the feedback and because of the success, we decided to go with number 2, which was in 2025, and we upped the stakes. Wasn't in a schoolyard anymore. We went to the Abu Dhabi National Exhibition Center.
The 25 Crucible was amazing for me. I won it, so of course, I liked it a lot. I actually found out about competition quite late, so I cancelled my other competition plans and flew straight here.
I have a returning champion, Miko Liliorg from Estonia, coming in. 3 top 5 finishes last year.
I came, so and won.
But the run was the one that really stumped him. And if you're coming back to a competition and you've got that past experience, you know you've got to go and work on something specific, and running's one of those things.
In Crucible 2, the movements were front squat, pull-ups, run, shoulder press, and bike erg.
Jamie Simmons returns as well, one of the local girls, which has got to be a benefit, and you're not traveling very far at all. You can stay at home, have your own meals.
The reason I came back to the Crucible is it's a different sort of competition. I compete in fitness competitions all the time, but this is something different with its individual elements put in different ways. Yeah, I think that's what attracted me back.
It was a bit sour. I was on in the earlier heats, so some of the good lads turned up to watch what I was going to do, and then they knew what they had to beat, and I'd already lined up what I was going to spend the money on. And then you get second place and you get half the cash, so yeah, it was still good money.
So the aim of the game is consistency. If we cast our minds back to 2025 and just take a little look, Miko Liliorg had 3 top 5 finishes. Jamie Simmons, 5 top 5 finishes, winning one event, which was the strict pull-ups. You need to find a real consistency in your performance over the 2 days.
This competition is close to my heart because the money that I won last year was what made me decide to go full-time, because it helped me put something aside, and I was still planning to go into a doctorate. I was going to do a PhD, but then I made some money here. I was like, this is what I would make in a year. So I thought, let me try and go pro, let me try and go full-time. And because of this I did, and then it helped me, the domino fell.
She equaled Jamie Simmons last year with 5 top 5 performances, but her best was the front squat. And hopefully, can she maybe jump from second to first for this year?
We have a high prize money, and it's literally to award these athletes that are putting themselves out there. A lot of them are flying across the world to do this, and the winner will absolutely deserve every dirham he gets. So what we decided to do for Crucible 3 was combine the Crucible 1 movements, which is the qualifier, and then add in the Crucible 2 movements, which is the final, and bring them together for our first try at a 2-day event.
As we hit the 3rd edition of the competition, they have decided to test swimming. Now, this is the first real skill the competition floor has seen, and it's got this capacity to completely separate the field as we head into day number 2.
So I did a lot of sports growing up. Played rugby up to I was 22, I think. And sort of the rugby culture at home, a lot of it was, we'd play rugby, but then we'd go out and we'd party quite a bit. And I think I got more on the party side than the actual doing fitness and playing side. And my mum actually got me a month's pass at a CrossFit gym. And she was like, you need to go back and get back into sports, but in a different way with a bit of fitness in that. After a few months, I loved it and ended up competing at regionals. And I think it was maybe about 18 months later that I moved to Abu Dhabi. QHP training is quintessential health and performance. Elliot, my husband, Anthony, my business partner, and my coach. We love working out, we love helping others.
Very proud of you.
And that's how we do it.
Jamie is definitely one of the happiest people out there. Like, she loves competing so much. She's always just striving to be better no matter what it is, and she just loves it. So she's someone that's very hard to beat when she loves it that much.
Very proud as well that Emily DeRoy is coming over here to compete at the Crucible as well, an Aussie girl. She's got the same crew as Jamie Simmons. She's training with Elliot. Can't wait to see what she can do here.
Yeah, so Emily's a beast. I think she's going to do great this weekend. She's strong and she's a great athlete, and especially for Emily, if her head's in the right space, she'll be a killer.
I know I can give her a run for her money on a few events. It just depends a little bit more for me. She's just so good at everything.
How you feeling? Elliot, my husband, we met in 2014 and we've both been competing since then. He's a very good athlete, but he's very, cares about everyone else.
You always have to look around with Jamie because she's everywhere.
Well, day one is a very short day for the athletes. It's about 15 minutes. They'll start with the 10 RM deadlift, which is going to be very taxing considering they've only got 90 seconds to get that finished.
Number 2, weighted strict dips. It's 10 kilogram weight for the women, it's 20 kilogram weight for the men, and it's going to be all about muscle endurance. Who can collect the most amount of dips in the allotted window?
And then they're going to move straight into a shuttle run of 1 kilometre, which is going to be done in 50-metre shuttles. So we've got a different sort of realm for each of the 3 over the course of the day, but that's done in 15 minutes. The top 40, they move on to day 2.
This is a tough competition for these athletes. It's hard because you can't hide behind putting exercises together or practicing a skill over and over.
There is absolutely no room to hide, and every strength of yours, whilst that's celebrated, every weakness is completely exposed.
DeRoy there in the blue, lane 7. 140 on the bar. And that's going to be a fairly decent lift for Emily, considering she has got a long way to go. Genetics, limb length, all that sort of stuff, Jane, it's going to play into what these athletes are doing.
Yeah, I mean, she was right after me, so I obviously finished, came out, got my stuff, and then went straight up to see her. We're really happy for her. The deadlift went heavier than what she expected, or as she wanted, which is good.
When you come to the UAE, you better be prepared to take on Jamie Simmons.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you feeling?
I'm alright. I was watching the weights of the deadlift because that's the one I'm most worried about, and maybe what I was aiming for will stand in the middle. Which is still like I was worried it would be worse if I managed to do it, because I still haven't done it, but we will see. Some people like to think ahead and think, okay, if I go too heavy here, it will degrade me over there. But this is not training, this is competing. It's a different biological place to be.
Second place last year on the podium. Syria Miha looking to go one better and jump over Jamie Simmons. Paran, 155 kilos to kick things off. That is the biggest lift we have seen so far. 137.5 was the previous best from Jamie Simmons. What a way to come out.
Yeah, the first deadlift you need to be confident with. And again, it's the first of 8 or 9 events, so be smart, basically. You know, I've been around a while, I've been through a few injuries. It's like, you're not going to win it on the deadlift, so just be smart there.
Let's take a little look at where things are stacking up in the overall deadlifts. Dana Paran with that 155, that is leading.
I've trained weighted dips, weighted pull-ups. We're always doing strict movements. Well, at least I do a lot of them. Once I signed up, then I start putting them on a weekly basis.
No rep from Campos as well. The judging standards are very strict.
And Victoria Campos has been like a machine here. Every single rep has been the same. She's followed the exact same process, and we've seen it really pay off now with 35 reps. beautiful to watch Syria doing these dips. It's almost mesmerizing. Each rep is the same. It's a really clean rep.
Campos was on 35 and Simmons at 36, so tight at the top for the women in the dips.
Final couple of seconds for Syria, and great performance, 34 reps.
I am very happy with my dips. At one point I knew I was first and I just wanted to show off a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm comfortable here. So I carried on. I didn't think it would carry over too much on the run anyway.
And then the dips, just need to make sure you don't get a no rep. I got like 5 no reps, I think.
So Victoria Campos, she was also in a little bit of a later heat. Hers breaks down to 1 rep every 5 seconds, and she really paced that out pretty well through the whole thing.
Our dips in the books, our deadlifts in the books, and our final workout on day number 1.
Astrid Tinder on the right, you see with the long legs, 5'11", as I mentioned, opening up a stride and a lead here to start things off in this heat. And then what's going to happen between Blinova and Meha? They've been side by side the whole time. Which one of them is going to be able to close quicker? 10 seconds here, needs a big kick to get across the line. She could still win this thing.
Oh, she's asking for some little bit of crowd support as well. How about you just get down the floor? It's going to be tight. And probably just outside. Wowza.
And look at Blinova, 4:02 provisionally.
Meha with a 4:06.
Amazing job. Thank you. I closed the gap between us from last year.
I only good running.
You came around there.
Yeah, I try. Yeah. Oh, let's go.
Thank you.
It was hard. I was feeling sorry for myself around number 8. But then, yeah, I knew I'm good at this, so I really need to push it. Yeah.
Our ladies off for the third and final workout of their day.
Probably the brightest spark of the entire female competition, Jessie Smith. And she's one of those competitors who will give 100% no matter what. But the smile on her face is just going to bring light to the entire competition.
I think it's hard not to compare yourself to people all the time.
And Jessie Smith, Jamie Simmons, they know each other so well.
I've known her for a few years now and we're like pretty close, so it's fun to be able to compete against her, which I haven't done before.
I love to see what's going on between Jamie Simmons and Jessie Smith right there. Jessie is basically hanging a meter behind her, and she's been there the entire way. It's not quite close enough to draft, but the concept is there.
Jessie Smith has now put the hammer down. Jessie Smith taking the lead. Jamie Simmons comes back. This is going to be a great battle. Jessie with enough in the tank. And what a race we've seen from second and third. Jess Tal taking on 4 minutes flats.
Jamie and I were head to head the entire time. In my head, I was like, you deadlifted less than her, so you need to run faster than her. It was all I was thinking about the whole time. I think I got her by like 0.001 seconds at the end, so it was a really, really fun race.
I think that she's going to be a phenomenal competitor this weekend. She is even stronger than I am relative to the field. When it comes to upper body movements especially, she's got bigger arms than me, it looks like sometimes, and she's been training pretty hard for this event.
Chandler is my husband, Chandler Smith. He is very well known in the CrossFit and fitness space. He was a wrestler in college and high school. His entire family is so athletic. I'm not gonna lie, I don't hear him as much while I'm competing, so I think he needs to work on the loudness of his voice while we're doing that. If I scream for him, it's very loud and it's also very shrill, so he can always hear me.
Let's go, Chandler! You think he heard me?
I definitely yell. Scream makes it sound like I go super high pitched. Maybe I do. My voice has been known to squeak a little bit, but whenever I'm watching her, I am definitely trying to yell as loud as she does when she's watching me.
I always tell people that my heart rate is probably higher while I'm watching Chandler compete as opposed to whenever I'm actually competing. I can't see the scoreboard, so I was taking photos of where it was at. If anybody doesn't know your phone works, it's a really good set of binoculars.
The thing about the Crucible that made me say yes is the fact that it is a straight up strength and conditioning competition. And I think across my whole career, out of all the different hybrid sports, I've always been a very good strength conditioning athlete. So a place that allows me to test those things without maybe some of the interference that I'd see in some of these other competitions really appealed to me.
think for him the biggest question is going to be the standards because it's very different. Contrast that with Mikko Liljeorg, who's done this last year and showed proficiency, and many of the men in the field think that he's a threat to repeat as champion.
Whenever it comes to lifting weights, I feel like I have a very strong mindset, and so to start the competition with something that requires a little bit of precision, like the deadlift, where you only have 90 seconds to do the 10 reps, I feel extremely confident, maybe more confident than I would in other spaces.
I think it's quite nerve-wracking. You're not allowed to change the weight. You've got to say your number before you go out there. You got to put the weight on the bar, and you either do it or you don't. If you want to compete and you want to challenge some top spots, you've got to be out your comfort zone. So ideally, I wanted to do 200, and then I seen some scores on the doors, and I was like, 200 is not going to be good enough. You're gonna have to go up again. So 210, I put my belt on pretty tight and buckled up for 210.
Reggie starting things off at 210, Kalyan at 220, and there are some big numbers in there. And knowing what's gone ahead of you in the heats, you know exactly what within capacity you have to hit.
If I have decided that I can put a weight on a bar that is something that I reasonably think I can hit, I will hit it, end of story, no question. So I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna put a ton of weight in the bar and I'm gonna lift it.
Chandler Smith putting 225 kilos on his bar. He's seen what's gone in the last two heats for the men and gone, I'll see that and I'm gonna raise you a lot.
I think I'm measuring myself against Roman because I think on a individual movement level, he is better than me at every single one of these things, or he has been in the past. So it's a great opportunity to try to catch up and see if I've closed the gap a little bit.
I can't think about another people. I always think about me. If I try to think about another, I don't have energy for this. Yeah, I don't care. Just first day, it doesn't matter what's place. Like everything tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow we start competing.
A lot of the top athletes are going to gauge day one as like a very light training day. I don't think they're going to max out. I don't think the deadlift is going to be a precursor to how they perform in the run, because I don't think many are going to max out to what their capacity could be. I think there's going to be a lot of watching the heats prior and seeing exactly what they need to do rather than what they think they can do.
My level is good for everything. That's why I'm coming, because when I saw workout first time, like exercising, well, I can do it everything. Like also running good for me, swimming, I'm good swimming, like not like best, but I feel comfortable in the swimming pool. And I can do lifting and gymnastic with weight. Yeah, I like everything. That's why I'm coming. And also it's good money, good price.
Roman Khrennikov is a global sensation in the sport of competitive fitness, and when the big money's on the line, you know the big man is going to show up.
Yeah, Roman doesn't need to go chasing Chandler Smith's 225 either.
No need for that here from him. 213 is an excellent score, and you see he looks totally composed. Like that was not something that was pushing to a place he needed to go.
Chandler's winning lift, no one was able to beat that. Knowing that lift early in the day, still no one even got close to it or attempted it.
In my mind, in training, I've done 240. I just felt like I didn't really have a reason to go that much heavier because I thought the scores weren't going to really see that many people up to 225. So it's kind of like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I got to save some energy for tomorrow. I want to hit a big squat and do well on the pull-ups and the bike. So it's conserving energy over the course of the whole weekend is the name of the game.
And I'm also measuring myself against Jelle because he's one of my best friends in the competitive space, and it'll be really fun to get the chance to beat him.
I'm happy to call this my job now, and I'm still doing it with a lot of passion and motivation to get better, to get to my absolute peak. I'm struggling since early last year with a wrist injury. I will actually undergo surgery in 1 week for that, but I postponed the surgery until right after the Crucible.
My name is Craig Harriman and I'm one of the head judges for the Crucible. Every rep has a different movement criteria, but we all expect a certain range of motion to be complete. So every exercise will have a start and end position that the athletes must pass through. All reps must be performed strict and up to the standards that have been set by the team and the judges.
The Crucible is definitely very different to a regular competition. Obviously we all know it's strict movements, but the standard of the strictness is a lot higher than it would be in any other competition. Like your body has to stay so straight, all the lifting movements as well as so many different standards and stricter standards.
The senior judging team have been judging competitions for more than 15 years.
Two, no swinging at the bottom. Stop that. Did I miss anything else?
It's not just at the bottom we're looking at keeping momentum. At any point, if I gain momentum on the way up, that would be on no rep.
We've spent months planning these movements out and trained the judges to be able to spot for any faults. and we've got a really, really high expectation that we're holding the athletes to.
Last year it was the amazing job of judges. They didn't care if you are world famous, they didn't care if you are here for the first time. The judges actually hold the standards for everybody and super like strictly. It was like, you can't cheat your way out of it.
I think a lot of people will get no reps and be like, what have I done? Like, I never get no reps in general, but I liked it because I felt like it was even. It was we were all on the same boat.
Try not to get mad. If a judge gives you a no rep, you try to accept it and try to make yourself better and not get mad at the judge and start screaming. It's like, no, the judge is there to like kind of help you, like to be accountable of what you do. So it's like not to scream at a judge, you know, it's to try to do everything perfectly, and if something is wrong, try to change in the game, you know, not to get like anxious about it.
Even in training now, I've been training very different. So my numbers have gone down, but I know that they are good reps.
I think it's just really good to train that sort of movement. How strict it just really tests your body and what you can actually do solely just using those specific muscles instead of like letting your body swing a little bit.
And here he is, top scorer in that heat. Now let's just break this down real quick. Pausing that bottom position, this is what we want to see from the athlete. We want to see that the shoulder is actually finishing below the elbow joint and that the leg position remains the same the whole way through. Now he was super consistent from start to finish, all 42 reps. Speed of the movement was really fast as well, and that's what we'd love to see.
6, 7. No rep, keep moving.
If wouldn't I could do a count and see what I would have got if I did that.
Can I check it with you? The dip station was too low. I had to keep the feet towards my bum. But then as soon as it moved like a millimeter up or down, even though it didn't give me an advantage, I got like 12, 13 no reps.
For the rep to count, we can create no momentum, no kipping or swinging. It has to be a perfectly strict rep. This means that if the legs start in a certain position, they have to stay in a certain position for the entirety of the movement.
This has been impressive from the big man.
And let's see if he can get these extra reps here. He's right on 39 right now. We've only had 4 guys get to 40. One more rep would put him ahead of Semenov and Krenikov.
Oh, impressive. Luka, well done.
My name is Luka Đukić. I'm from Serbia. I do spend a lot of time in UAE and I'm resident here. So yeah, that's kind of something quick about me. Competing at any big stage in the fitness space is very important to me, and especially like I would say I'm entering my prime years, so I'm really trying to capitalize on every big weekend I have a chance. You know, you never know how long you're going to be competing in for, you never know how many more chances you will have to compete against the best. I really want to make the most out of it.
Underway for the third and final workouts.
Going from one end to the other, you've got to go round the cone, but at the other end, you've got to put your foot down on the line. I think the push off and I think the circling around the cone is going to be imperative to see who can manage that the best. Don't touch the cone either. That's going to come with a lot of penalties.
53 seconds for Luka for the first 250 meters. That is quick.
1 kilometer is distance that's short enough that you have to sprint, but it's long enough that you can overdo it in the beginning.
Your hamstrings have to really fire up because it's more about speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. And it's not like a regular run that you're used to going just in one speed for 15, 20 or 40 minutes. You just have to always like increase pace, yeah, and slow down.
So when I first tested it, I was like, okay, you have to maximize the corners, it's gonna be... And then I tested it and I'm like, there's a lot of running as well. You know, at first I thought it's all about the corners, it's all about the shuttles, but then when you think about it, it's still like 1 kilometer of running. That's a lot of running.
Okay, good in second, but it is going to be a very quick time and the second fastest overall so far.
This is what you want to see from Mikko, honestly.
Big time.
We've talked about it. There's nothing else to do today. You should be leaving everything on this last 100 meters of the run, and that's what Mikko Lilliorg did. Beat Semenov by a second. I'm telling you, that second could play a big factor tomorrow.
The running was way harder than expected. I mean, there is no bounce on the floor, it's astroturf, you know, but your pulse is really high from the dips, you know, you can't get it in training.
I practiced this in training with my girlfriend, and we didn't have the exact pitch. So I did steps, and then it turns out when I did in training, I did like with 60 meters because I did such a long steps. And then when I was here, I was looking at the clock and I'm like, damn, I'm flying.
As we know, the run we're gonna count double. You really have to make sure you give your everything.
We've put double points on the run for day 2 because number 1, running is an absolute fundamental human movement. It's very important. And also so that it evenly splits the cardio versus strength versus bodyweight movements.
Luca shows us winning the workout now that they've cut down to 40 athletes because they rescored it. So that means Luca got 200 total points, the most he could get today out of any workout.
This is what the leaderboards now look like as we head into a day number 2. Ed, take us through our women.
Thank you, Lauren. So let's look at the top of the leaderboard. We've got Astrid Tind. Now, with these score adjustments, she currently has a 15-point spread over last year's champ, Jamie Simmons.
But what about our men? How are they stacking up?
Yeah, similarly to the women's side, you're going to see some big recognizable names pushing towards the top. Roman Krenikov with a narrow lead over Luka Jukic and Kalyan Susan, 9 points separating those 3 very well-accomplished athletes. A big drop-off, 40 points to Ben Fowler in 4th. He's the beneficiary of a scoring change, moving up 4 places on the overall leaderboard. Unlike the women, the top 2 from last year, not towards the top. Miko Lilliorg and Reggie Fossa, who were 1 and 2, now sit in 8th and 9th.
Another one, bit of a dark horse coming into the competition is Craig Ritchie, big social media background and coming into the space. Now as a competitor and as a British weightlifting champion, who knows what he can do as well.
Olympic weightlifting for the last 4 or 5 years has been my thing. I was completely burnt out of training 6 months ago. I was riddled with injuries, lost all my passion for weightlifting, pretty much stopped training. And then I got this and I went, you know what, like, if I can turn up in some sort of shape and just have some different fun competitive fitness, let's go do it.
I am the most nervous I've been in years.
Another guy who he is super strong, Jack Chapman.
A weekend like this is a dream come true to me. I work full time as a geologist and my passion is strength and fitness. In terms of community, I think it'd be amazing to share the space with these professional athletes and show them that someone like myself with a full-time job can be competitive.
There's Jack Chapman. That looks so easy.
I think it's a great opportunity to find the ultimate athlete.
For me, I just physically burnt out of doing a certain sport over and over and over. And I've always been about training for enjoyment. The foundations that this competition allows you to train, just building foundations again. I don't think there's an event like it. And that's why I wanted to do it. If you're a bodybuilder or a gym, you could turn up to this event and just do the event.
With the strictness of the referee in the Crucible, I think it might play to my strengths.
Jack Chapman getting very close with 10 seconds to go. He's pushing it.
Yeah, but I think he paced it perfectly. I mean, that rep wasn't really a doubt, so he maximized his rest during that interval to still hit 10 reps.
Oh man, my back. Took my back on the 5th or 6th rep of deadlifts. So it's seized right up. Whether that's a good or a bad, it's not a good sign, is it? But hopefully it'll loosen up nice and
And Marcus Kwak cannot wait to see what he can do, the 33-year-old from Korea.
되게 재밌을 것 같고 그리고 되게 유니크하고 그리고 되게 도전하고 싶다 이렇게 느낀 것 같습니다.
207.5 kilo deadlift to get things underway for heat number 9.
I had like 240 in the tank. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to blow myself up.
I wish I had 240 in the tank. Me personally turning up here, I know I'm not going to win. I'm not going to be fighting those top guys for the top position. If I make it to day 2, I make it to day 2. You know, I'm just turning up to have fun. That's all I've set my goal. If I go in day 1 and have fun in those 3 events and I don't make it to day 2, I like it. I'm fine.
Well, that was no fun at all, that.
Mostly focused on YouTube, also maybe a singing career. Craig Ritchie did not qualify into day 2. Marcus Kwak qualified into day 2, ended day 1 in 31st place. He had top 20 finishes on both the deadlift and the dips. Jack Chapman also didn't qualify. He finished right behind Craig Ritchie in 46th place.
Good morning and a very warm welcome back to Hudayriat Island, which plays host to the 2026 Crucible. It is day number 2 of action. Today we kick things off with a swim and only 40 of the best male and 30 of the best female athletes remain. It is finals day.
The judge came over at the end and he was like, "Is this your nail?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Something that probably feels a little bit more unknown to me is the swim.
I'm a very bad swimmer. Because I can only go so fast. Yeah, exactly. Which is slow. You're more in tune with the water if you live next to it. I wasn't really swimming much, so it's all new. But 6 weeks wasn't enough. I don't know what I was expecting.
I live on an island, in the Cayman Islands. So I'm always in the water, either surfing, free diving, or just snorkeling and watching fishes. Not the fastest, but I'm super comfortable.
So going into the swim, I think over the course of the 8 workouts, you can afford to probably drop one. Some athletes who aren't great at swimming are potentially going to drop this one.
Ida Konkanen, the only athlete on the starting blocks, and getting a very quick lead from the get-go. Katie Healy from the previous heat in 8:18. Our third fastest time today, Anastasia Jasovits in 8:17. But a big gap to our first place. This has been a great swim from Jess Tal, and it is going to be the fastest time we have seen so far with one heat to come. She's now put a massive distance between herself and Ida Konkanen.
Is she going to make sub 7?
Go, go, go.
Oh, we're going to get there easily. Jess Tal.
I felt the dicks on that.
And Vicky Campos about to get completed.
Fantastic times in this heat, really good. Strong heat.
Jess just had a magnificent 500 metre swim, 7:02. Yeah, so 5 months ago I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, axial spondyloarthritis. So I took a break from racing for 5 months, so I tried to sort my health out, and it feels good to be back. But now I just appreciate everything so much more. Like, I am able to do this. And every day I'm happy to be able to do it again. So it's given me a new perspective on sport. I thought looking, the pool looks smaller.
Huh?
The pool looks smaller.
Yeah.
But it's actually the actual size.
10 seconds.
I've never jumped from a block, so I need to see how that is. My goggles will stay in the same place. So I have to test it out just a bit for confidence.
Underway for our final heat of the morning here at the pool.
I don't love swimming.
Straight in that first turn, Emily chose to do a flip turn, Jamie chose to do a touch and go, and the flip turn was immensely quicker.
That swim cap for Jamie Simmons looks like it is all over the place and at the back end of her hair.
I can swim though, because I feel like anyone from New Zealand or Australia, you can swim.
I'm excited about the technique that Emily de Roy is currently employing because I know a good swimming stroke when I see one.
So my sporting background, I was a swimmer for 10 or 11 years. I started competitively when I was 7 and I finished when I was about 17, but I also did surf lifesaving, water polo. Swimming was my main background.
De Roy now about to lap Jessie Smith.
She's like a fish.
She's got a beautiful sort of leg position as well, and the kicks just come from the hip.
But Emily de Roy doing exactly what she needs to do, and it is the second fastest time of our women. The Aussie superfish, Emily de Roy. Simmons finishing in 8:38. Syria Miha finishing up just outside 10 minutes.
When I started swimming 6 weeks ago, 15 minutes was like my target. And then week by week, I'm like, I could call my dad and he was like, what's your time this week? I'm like, 13:05. And then the next week, 12:10. He was like, you're gonna break 10 minutes by the end. I didn't break 10 minutes, but almost.
We see Jess Tal, Ida Konkanen, and Emily de Roy in the top 3 in this one. That pushes them up into the top 5. All 3 of them are now in the top 5 overall for the competition.
For swimming, I actually swim in the swimming pool of 321 Club. So yeah, I've been familiar with the swimming pool, yeah. Pool is very specific. On one side, it's 1.8 meters, which is like a normal pool. And on one side, it's only 1 meter, which makes it a bit harder, I would say, for the turns. When the swimming pool is only 1 meter deep, it's almost impossible to do.
You give me half meters, I can do that sideways.
I feel taller athletes sometimes have problems to tumble turn.
Oh no, it's fine.
Okay.
I feel like I can just push the swimming part and stay longer underwater than doing the flip turn and pretending I'm good at it.
Yella moving through now into his final 50 meters.
Oh, it's just a beautiful stroke, and it will be the fastest time here so far at a 7:40.
This night I couldn't fall asleep, and then I had to run to the toilet and empty my stomach, and I don't know, maybe I ate something wrong.
Who do you think is gonna win? 2 guys.
There's always kind of a bit of a fear element with the water because with everything else we do, the safety level is pretty high. There's a chance, that something go wrong, you get hurt, but water has a unique element of danger to it.
Luke Tweddle, he's sitting in lane number 8.
Sorry, lane 8 just bombed.
Take a look at lane 8, Luke Tweddle here. Now we're talking about textbook water entry. Let's have a look at what he does here. This is what we call the cannonball.
I do not have a swimming background, no. There's definitely a big difference in, folks like Miko who, grew up swimming. Those guys can effortlessly throw down some really fast times, and I'm not quite there yet.
I mean, I'm 30 kilos heavier than I was when I was swimming. And it's funny to see like kids next lane, 14-year-old girl swimming faster than me in like 500 meters.
And it is the 500-meter swim. Miko Liliog wasting absolutely no time.
And yeah, as we can see, Miko straight away from his dive, a few butterfly kicks, extremely efficient.
Miko's technique, he is pulling himself through that water so well. Krenikov sitting in second for Miko Liliog. It is going to be well under 7 minutes. 6:20 something is on our radar for Miko Liliog. And it is going to be a 6:25. Yalahosta with that time to beat coming into this final heat. Miko Liliog smashing that by 1 minute and 15 seconds. Krenikov done.
So hard, tough to dips.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I was at the breakdance Roman style. We're faster than... No, bro. No. 15 seconds slower. Oh no, 10. You?
5 seconds faster.
Faster?
Yeah.
Chandler Smith taking 7th, Luka Djukic 8th.
I'm not on the floor, I'm a husband to my wife. I try to be a good friend to many of my friends. I'm also quite funny, I would say, but not many people get to experience that.
I feel like I'm the same person in and out of a competition. Really, I don't really have much of a filter, I guess, so I'm just me all the time.
Working out and getting to know people. I travel a lot to compete or to do seminars and workshops. I do a lot of gymnastic workshops as well around the world.
Well, I like to rollerblade, but Elliot has banned me from that until after this weekend because he thinks I might get injured.
Just like taking a walk with your girlfriend next to a beach or something like that.
I'm pretty good at COD. You know what COD is? Call of Duty. My girlfriend tells me off for going on it too much. So I'm only allowed it one day a week. We call it lads night on a Friday. So I play that on a Friday just to decompress, but actually it stresses me out more than I think. Playing with my friends because the shit.
I have 2 kids, to pay all the bills, but still train and make the dream come true. When I left, they were like, "Daddy, we can see you on TV." He was like, "I want to see you on TV already, competing," because I told them that it's gonna be a live stream. It's it makes me my heart really warm about it as well. Just they're rooting all the time for me as well.
Play with my son, because when I'm home all my life around my son and my wife, I try spend time as possible with my family when I'm outside and gym. We just play and that's it, and walk, play every day. When I was young, I did just breakdancing. Yes.
My secret hobby is that I am awesome for a pub trivia night. So if you ever need somebody for pub trivia or, like a crossword style games, I'm your guy.
I'm definitely more of a nerd, I suppose. I watch a lot of anime, and Chandler actually kind of got me into watching all of that.
So I am very competitive. I've been brought up doing obviously a lot of competitive sports, and my parents both compete, my sister competes, so we've all just been a very competitive family pretty much from when I was born. My mum swam and ran races, swam races while I was in her belly, won those races, so it's kind of just ingrained in me, I guess.
It's very hard when you're a professional athlete and you kind of don't do anything else apart from training in terms of your lifestyle, because it can consume a lot of your day, it can consume a lot of your life when you're preparing for the big competition.
I compete a lot. I like competing very much. So I compete, and then 2-3 weeks later, I'm like, am I getting slower? Am I getting weak? My life is CrossFit, so I don't do much outside of it.
Swim done now, and we are going to move on to the second portion of day number 2, and we're into a 7-rep max front squat. Again, 90 seconds to establish that. We move into the strict pull-ups as well with a 10 kilo or 5 kilo weighted plate for the male and females. Moving on, after those 2 short workouts, we are going to get into a 20-minute bike erg test. That is really going to test, I think the mental strength rather than the physical capacity for what the athletes have got. And for those who haven't done it, they're in for a very rude shock.
Even last year, we got a taste of what the C2 bike can do to these athletes. It was the final event of the day, and it was for distance. And then now, today, this is the penultimate event, which means they're then gonna have to get themselves composed and step up to do a 5-rep max strict press.
Half of the workouts remain for this final heat. 3 points separate the top 3 women, and the jumps from 1st to 5th are $10,000 each, so massive implications across each of these 4 disciplines.
What a way to make money, hey?
Probably another big swing here. 7 reps, 1 attempt, but you have to make a very calculated decision about what they put on that bar.
Even if sometimes we are stronger in competition, you're still a bit worried to go that 2 kilo heavier because you never know. So maybe your knees shake and it's over.
Syria didn't meet the minimum work requirement for the front squat on the first event, so we don't let athletes continue, so we've had to step out of the competition. Heartbreaking stuff.
Syria ending up with a DNF today was absolutely heartbreaking on the squat because she was also going for a really big squat. She had a big number in mind, and what we saw happen for her was she blacked out. The reason we can actually explain it is the load that she had in a front rack position changed her body's ability to deliver oxygen and blood. Her muscles required more oxygen than she was actually able to provide them with. And that's one of the things you actually see on an all-out effort with anything. It's like the muscles actually require more oxygen than the body can give to it.
And tough going for Syria Miha. 15 seconds remain. This time has ticked away very quickly. Workout number 6, it is the max pull-ups, and something that Jamie Simmons is going to be looking forward to. Jamie Simmons now 17 reps down already. Now, she would know that she needs to get that minimum, but she can't let Jessie Smith get any closer than she's getting. Paran, with still 45 seconds left on the clock, she's potentially going to go very close to getting 30.
Victoria Campos sneakily right up there with her. She was also one of the athletes to hit 100 plus on that front squat. So Campos in 4, Paran in 2 look like they're going to be the new leaders overall.
Paran with 24, and Campos is going to level that at 24 as well.
Now Jamie's got it locked up. Jessie hitting 26 there would actually put her into the tie for second, or 27. Either way, she's going to get second place points. And Jessie Smith is the athlete that was sort of in that second grouping that's starting to make a little bit of push here. She hit 100 kilos on the squat, which is exceptional. Second place on the pull-up. And I know that her and Chandler have been putting in the miles on the bike.
2 more to come, and a 20-minute bike erg test to test these athletes before we find the ultimate athlete.
Actually known more generally as the FTP test, which is the functional threshold performance test. And so it's a really common test used in the cycling world.
Yeah, the FTP test. I've never done that one. It's gonna be a first.
Vicky Campos hasn't budged too much. 2:15, 2:16, that's been very consistent.
And the bike is gonna be brutal. We've run those at 20 minutes, doubled in time since last year.
I just know it's gonna be very painful. That's all I can tell. Everybody was in pain.
Astrid Tind comes from Denmark, and if you go to Copenhagen, you're more likely to see bikes on the road than cars on the road.
So we had Astrid Tind, and she looked like she just could have ridden that bike all day. She was so strong.
You can see how she's breathing here. It's not an emphatic breathing, but it's consistent, and she's keeping the blood circulating through the legs by doing that.
Just ticked every single box. It was just like she had read the textbook and she applied the textbook. It was absolutely fantastic.
And Jessie Smith right here, you know, you can tell that she's not comfortable, but I think she also understands that this is where I need to be right now because she has put herself firmly in the conversation for those top 5 positions.
I like to count things. So like for myself, it might be every minute I'll do something different, or I'll change my hand position, or I'll stand up on the bike or something like that. For me, like I just have to do that 20 times and then I'll be fine. So like, I don't know, my brain might work a little bit different to others, but I love just counting things. So if I can find something for myself to count, I'll be like, okay, there's 1 down, or there's 2 down, now we're at 10. And I can just keep going like that until the test is over. It may start to hurt, but that's the point, I guess.
DeRoy currently at 227 level with Jessie Smith.
They're quite close to a professional cyclist. So some of the numbers that we see in professional cycling are over 300 watts. So you generally see a really, really high level professional cyclist female over 300 watts. And so one of the best ever recorded scores was 340. So the women we saw today, we had one over 270. So well on their way for what a professional cyclist can do, but not really in the same ballpark as well.
I'm just watching down there in lane 7 and 8. They're still within 1 average watt of each other, Jessie Smith and Emily DeRoy, and I think that whichever one of them is able to take the point from the other one there could end up being a spot on the leaderboard.
Raisa Blanova to finish second behind Astrid Tin, 2.74 to finish. Wow. Incredible performance.
But it's all going to come down to the final strict press, the final opportunity to score points and attack the top of that leaderboard.
I think with the deadlift and the front squat, of course, we only have 90 seconds to do those, so it's really 1 attempt for both of those. But we have like 15 minutes to do the strict press, and that's a lot of time. I know it's after the bike, so you're gonna lose a little bit, but 15 minutes is a long time to try to max out a lift.
Vicky Campos going big early, and I don't mind that either. It's gonna minimize the amount of lifting you need to do.
Final event too, you're maybe gonna know where you're at and what you have to do points-wise compared to what other people are doing.
3 reps remaining for Campos.
Shit.
Close. Or 1 rep remaining. Astrid Sin, can she get this final rep? Oh, again, 4.5 reps. Jamie Simmons, 1 rep to go at 50 kilos. It doesn't look like she's managed to get it. DeRoy for the outright win for the strict press 5RM.
Well, and interesting here, you know, she's already maxed out her points, but the women she's tied with, including Raisa Blanova, don't want her to hit this because they want to take those 100 points with them as well.
DeRoy 55 and the win.
I have 55 kilo, I got a wrap on my last wrap because I lean back. But you know, they're very strict, so there's nothing I can do about it.
The press, I was gutted not to get that last one. Same thing happened last year. I think I was like getting excited, well, I'm gonna get it, and then it is what it is.
And yeah, and ended up just being able to grind out the last one. I was a little bit sideways, but they told me not to go backwards, so it was all good.
We're going to turn our attention to the men's competition because we have a whole evening of excitement to come.
Thanks, Lauren. And excited is so beyond what I'm experiencing right now. The ultimate athlete is the tag that they want and they're aiming for. Plenty of dollars on the line as well. And there is plenty of plates on these barbells.
I can squat quite heavy, so I'm pretty confident that I don't think anyone can touch the numbers I'm going to do. I done 170 in training. I'll see where the big lads are at. If I don't need to do 170, I don't need to do 170.
Exact same loading for Chandler and Miko, but I think Reggie...
Oh, they're all 160.
They're all just different ways of getting there. Yella Hoste, who is not known for his squatting necessarily, 147.5, a very good start.
Incredible. Jero Bodine, 162.5. That is epic.
Yeah, Geronimo Bodine there is going to take the overall on that workout. Now, it puts a lot of pressure on as we head towards the pull-ups, because at some point, Kate, we're going to need to see a separator, although I do appreciate there are 3 stations to come.
Yes, and it could be the difference of just 1 pull-up.
Less than 10 seconds to go before we get started on workout 6. Max pull-ups in 3 minutes. Lily Org straight to work in lane number 9.
You see Luka Jukic there, and he's being aggressive here. He knew what would happen on the front squat. The rest of these 3 movements are very good for him, and he's going to need to make up some ground against Roman if he wants to get that top spot.
Kranikov hits 30. Luka Jukic not too far away. Miko Liliorg sneaking into 26. Chandler Smith about to hit 30. Mark Nangle at 31. The last chance for the last couple of reps in workout 6. Nangle with a sneaky one to finish things off.
You know, no one has excelled at the front squat and on the pull-up, and Krenikov is 7th and 2nd. And if you remember, When we spoke to him yesterday about what he was really looking forward to today, he said this, the 20-minute bike erg.
On a bike erg for 20 minutes for average fat, like there is nobody who's not gonna say it's mental. It's gonna be like burning, but it's more mental than it is physical, you know, because when you see the time, it's only 10 minutes past and you're like already out of breath.
Well, I enjoy cycling, so the training aspects on the C2 bike benefits me for when I go out on my road bike in the summer with the lads.
Well, Reggie Fossa is a bit of a unicorn on the bike. He doesn't have the stature that we'd expect from the elite bikers when it comes to competitive fitness, but he was the winner here last year.
I already accepted the pain's going to happen, and as long as I can lean into that for 20 minutes, it should be easy to do, especially considering I've done it for 4 to 6 hours in the past.
Bike 20 minutes, it's not like so long for me, just 20 minutes. I did a longer workout before in my life. It's hard, but not so hard, you know, like you just do bike, nothing else.
In my estimation, Roman Kretikov is not concerned in the slightest with Lago or Reggie Fossa because his goal here is to bank 50K. We know from past interviews and past conversations that when the big money is available, Roman will fly to chase it down.
In the world of ergs, what comes into people's decision about the damper setting is actually our perception of how it works rather than the physics of how it actually works. When you move the damper up, what it does is it increases the total capacity of air, but the athlete actually has to tap into that capacity of air through their power output and through their RPM. And so the best results we saw today were achieved at a low to mid-range damper setting, a 4 or a 5. And what we saw from those athletes is they achieved a higher average watts over 20 minutes, which makes sense because they were able to keep their cadence up because the resistance wasn't actually as high.
And all trying to catch our leader, who can still manage a smile. He's probably not suffering as much as the other competitors.
I enjoy the process on the bike. If you don't enjoy the process, it becomes a bit more of a slog.
It's very long, and especially last, I would say, 6 to 8 minutes is where you are like hurting very bad, but you still have such a long time to go.
If he continues to bleed these points, what looked like a battle for second and third could end up being a battle for third and fourth.
I think the coolest events is on, to see people drop or people incline.
Chandler Smith into third position. Our second last workout of the day, we are close to finding out who our ultimate athlete is.
Well, I can't go past Reggie Fossa, and he went into this saying he's going to do whatever it takes to win that bike erg. So we knew from the very beginning that he was just not going to stop.
Zone 2 right. Reggie Fossa, one of the only athletes on his feet. How's he done that?
We also saw Roman absolutely smash it, and that man is a unit. He is a big, strong man, and he used every ounce of his being to have the second fastest time on there.
It was fun first 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes it was hard for my legs. I was scared about cramp, you know, like, but it's fun. It's fun. It's my PR 360. I never did before.
In third, we had Yella. And I loved when he got on the bike because he got in his bike outfit and it had his name on the back.
There he is, the Hostabutt.
And it's a shame because I know he wasn't feeling 100%, but if he had been, I think he really would have given Reggie a good run for his money there.
And Reggie will take the average watt bike test. Of course he will. That was spectacular. But look at that from Roman Kretikov. He hasn't finished outside the top 10 all weekend long.
There's going to be a couple of minutes on the floor after the bike, and then you get straight to the bar because the time evaporates quick.
And we are ticking the seconds away now till we find out who is going to be the ultimate athlete.
Unlike the front squat and the deadlift, there's a long window of opportunity and they can have multiple attempts. Chandler has about a 25-point advantage over Luca, and Luca has 10 points on Mikko Liliorg. So those 2 podium spots are likely going to come down to those 3 guys, and that's where my eyes will be focused as we narrow in on the podium spots of the 2026 Crucible. Well, and this is dangerous here. If he's attempting 85 is the best score we've seen so far.
Interesting work from Mikko, and those toes flying up in the air. 5.5 minutes remain. Roman with a bit of a boogie going on. Not too stressed about what just happened. What is Luca going to go to? How close are we? Can he push those heels through the floor? Oh. Liliorg attempts his 90-kilo lift. I'm going to call it right now, 4.5 reps coming. We've seen it every heat. Are we going to see it again? It is getting tough for Mikko Liliorg. Roman Krenikov, bottom of screen. This is 4 for Mikko Liliorg. Can he nail the 5th? 4.5. Chandler Smith, the final athlete in our final heat to lift. Chandler.
But actually, yeah, I was really happy with 80-85 because last year the strict press was before the bike and it was way easier. Right now it was after the bike and it wasn't no ref because of the shoulder, it was because the leg started like bending a bit and it started being like, you know, like Shakira, you know, like it started moving.
Strict press, it's not my PR, but for this standard, like really strict, I think it's PR for 5, yeah. Maybe if I a little bit cheating, I can 90, but for so strict, 85 is my PR, yeah.
Had some trouble getting keeping my back perfectly straight, but they did a really good job at forcing standards all weekend, and I would rather have a really strict competition standards-wise than one that was really lax, because at least it's strict for everybody, and it worked out pretty well.
Taking 5th, Victoria Campos.
Started the day at 11, finished at 5th. Not bad. Did a good climbing today.
And in 4th, Jessie Smith.
In 3rd place, from Denmark, Astrid Tin.
We can't go past who came in 3rd, which is Astrid, and Astrid excelled so much in all of the endurance events. So the run, the swim, and bike, absolutely killed it.
In 2nd place, Jamie Simmons.
I think that's what I deserved, you know, like I went out, did what I did what I could. There was a few things that I let slip, and it's my own fault, but yeah, I'm still happy with that win.
And your winner from Australia is Emily DeRoy.
I'm a bit in shock because I went into that in 3rd, I think, and there were so many events left, so you have no idea what's going to happen.
She's a very young athlete with a lot of potential, so it's going to be really exciting to watch her.
Position 22, we have Marcus Quack.
My prep record is more higher, but it's fun. It's fun, and I'm happy. Yeah.
7th, we have Jaleh Hostel. 5th position, we have Reggie Faza. And then coming in at 4th, we have Luca Dejoux.
Looks like I just missed the podium. I'm 4th place.
In 3rd place, it's Mikko Liliorg.
There is no losses taken in this weekend, I think. It's like just to enjoy the fitness that I have in this moment. Events like this, the coolest thing is the athletes itself, you know, the tensions are high, of course, but it's like you still get to know more people closely.
In everything he did, he had a strategy going into it. So it wasn't just that he was relying on capacity or grit. He had a strategy, he implemented that strategy, and he did amazing. He came 3rd.
In 2nd place, Chandler Smith.
He didn't want many of the other athletes to see what he'd actually done, because what he did was ended up putting himself into 2nd position through that last event. So he was incredibly strategic, and I think that was a really smart way to actually play the game.
I had to execute perfectly today, kind of to get back into 2nd.
And your winner, taking home $50,000, he is Roman Krenikov!
Roman is an unbelievable athlete. Like, it's appropriate that he's the ultimate athlete.
Strict press, pull-ups, so strict, I love it. I like this standard because we used to do keeping butterfly, but here, like, we show our real fitness, you know?
Because what we saw from him was strong performances across all of the modalities.
Oh, it was fun, but a little bit stressful. I already tired, tell everyone it was stressful. Yeah, transport was really risky.
All in all, I'm very happy. The competition was run so smoothly. I'm very happy that I took part. Abu Dhabi is my second home, and I know that usually the competition that are under this umbrella are amazingly organized, and I'm very happy with my experience.
Watching the boys here is inspiring, you know, and I'd love to come back next year.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be back next year. Roman's beat me probably like the last 10 competitions, so I gotta find a way to turn it around at some point, and I'm just gonna keep trying to train. He's a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal guy to hang around, and a great person to try to catch up to, so keep doing my best.
I'm coming for sure. Next year, coming for sure. I like the standard.
If there is a next year, we're gonna go for a win. Yeah, we only run for a year and we're gonna come back stronger and more hungry.